Good morning. Welcome to Unity, spirituality with open hearts and open minds. And I don't know if you can feel it, but I think the building is still vibrating from our event last night. We had the Indian dinner that was just spectacular. Glenn and Laurel sent flowers. Beverly decorated and had beautiful markers on the tables. And we had Jerry's silk saris that we got from her son Dennis that draped things to make it pretty. The food was phenomenal, and the camaraderie was even better than that. And then we finished that and came in here and did a kirtan that just filled this place with energy and blessings. So know that you're sitting in an energy field that's still holding the energy from last night. And I believe with all my heart that spaces hold energy. Back when we first came into the building, we did a singing bowl concert. And as part of that, what I just kept seeing and that I shared with the group and we all said it here is underneath the carpet here at the very front going all the way back to the back is a labyrinth of light and love that unites all of us through the journeys of our souls as we walk into the center and back out from the center and pass each other and think we're going that way and we end up going that way instead. Just like a true labyrinth. It's a labyrinth of blessings that's beneath our feet every time we walk in here. And one of the things that was so sweet is last night they gifted me with these two beautiful candle holders that are lotuses. And so I immediately said, oh, those need to go on the altar. They are just beautiful. And this morning I saw the little note and it said happy anniversary because yesterday was Lane and my 29th anniversary. We were married the day after I graduated and was ordained. So my classmates were still there, and at the clubhouse by the pool underneath a giant oak tree at Unity Village is where we were married. And all of my classmates, when it came to the point we now pronounce you husband and wife, they all said it. So we are so sealed, one little thread comes loose and there are 38 left. So with that, I realized as I read this, it was our anniversary yesterday, but it's also my 20th here, our 10th anniversary for our building. And so it's with much love that Lane and I will have these up here, not only for our mutual commitment to all of you, but for the things that we have done together and the things yet to come, because that's lighting the way for the things that are yet to come. So on this wonderful day, I invite you now to prepare to sing Come Light, Light of God, that just reminds us of the divine spark in each of us and in all of life. And at home on Zoom, please join us by lighting your own candle or just communing with us, because even though you're in the ether, so to speak, so are we really, so we're all together as one. Come light, light of God, give light to creation, enlighten our hearts and remain with your world. Come light, light of God, give light to creation, enlighten our hearts and remain with your world. And now I invite you to stand and we're going to sing Seek Ye First. And I'd like to dedicate this to Mukesh, who was the one that organized our wonderful event yesterday, and it came from his heart and soul. And so he always seeks first the kingdom of God and then shares it with all of us. So Mukesh, I know you're maybe at home still asleep after last night, but if you're on Zoom, hi, we love you. This is for you.
the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Ask and it shall be given unto you. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and the door shall be opened unto you. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Please be seated, and as you sit, just glance around the room and just send everybody a blessing.
Keep behind this thing. Well, good morning, everybody. So, it was quite a show last night. I'm still wearing 2 desserts. God, those were really good. And that was it was just a wonderful meal, wonderful event, wonderful experience last night with the kirtan. And the kirtan's here every other week, so we can take advantage of that. Today's talk, Pam's going to talk about the soul of money. And that got me thinking, money. Boy, how many think that money is the root of all evil? And it said that it's God's good pleasure to give us the kingdom. It's God's good pleasure to give us the kingdom. That's good pleasure to give us everything. God, as it created heaven on earth, started out as an idea, a concept in the mind of the Spirit. And Spirit made it manifest. Money is the same thing. It's a manifestation of Spirit because Spirit came first. And it just flows from that concept. Money is, in that manifestation, it carries with it some of the principles of Spirit that we carry. There's the law of success, the law of circulation, the law of supply. All of those spiritual laws operate as we go around the manifest world. And a lot of those operate through this thing we call money. Now, money as of itself is nothing. It's a concept. It's physical when we get into the manifestation side of it, but it has no cause. It's not self-actualized. It's not self-driven. It just is a medium. What we do with it, however, can be the root of all evil. The fact that we may assess about it creates a separation between us and Spirit. Again, a root of all evil. So the issue for us as we look at money is to see it as a spiritual medium. And then what do we have to do with our consciousness to allow that to flow through us? The law of circulation says, like, If you hold back, it's like the illusion of the illustration that I was shown years ago was a bathtub. And the guy drew a bathtub with a plug in it, with the clawfoot kind. And they started pouring water in. Supply. Kept coming in, kept coming in, kept coming in. When the bathtub was full, it was full. And the water then started spilling off to the sides, but it never stayed in the bathtub. So then we got old water in the old bathtub, and the rest of it's going not in the bathtub. The only way a bathtub really works, you pull the plug. That's the law of circulation, that as it comes to us, it goes back out. It doesn't have to necessarily be the form of money. It can be, it's our energies. Money is just a thing. My hands are a thing. So it's the same thing. If I don't share myself and share my qualities, then I'm shortchanging somebody else, including myself. So so that's the kind of the law of circulation. So as we start talking about the soul of money, I think what we're really talking about is how do we allow the flow of prosperity to run through and as us? That's really the question, I think. And it almost falls along with today's daily word, which is grace. So in case we screw up, we've got grace. Or at least we got that going for us. With joy and gratitude, I welcome grace. With joy and gratitude, I welcome grace. The guiding, healing, harmonizing presence and power of God is everywhere present. Let me say it again. The guiding, healing, harmonizing presence and power of God is everywhere present. Divine grace is mine whenever I say yes to that presence within me. I release any thought that I am unworthy of grace. Nothing I can do or fail to do would ever disturb my divine identity. Grace need not be earned, nor can it be bought. Grace, no matter how much comes my way, it is inexhaustible. I can relax in complete trust that even more will be available as I need it. Grace doesn't happen to me. Grace doesn't happen to me. It expresses through me. Just as I have been blessed to receive grace when I have needed it, I am honored to be a conduit through which grace flows to someone else, blessing them in their time of need. And from 2 Corinthians, yes, everything is for your sake, so that grace, as it extends to more and more people, may increase thanksgiving to the glory of God. And so it is. Amen.
Oh, and so let's settle into that concept, a beautiful concept of grace, as we unite our voices in singing Sanctuary, as we each settle in at depth in that secret place of the Most High that abides at the core of our being. Settle in within yourself to commune with the divine in the midst of those who love you.
Lord, prepare be sanctuary, open hearted, tried and true, with thanksgiving. I am a living sanctuary for
take a moment and just settle in, feeling Mother Earth beneath your feet, sustaining and blessing you. Father Sky above your head with lights by day and by night to guide and inspire you each and every step along the way. All around you, the beauty of the created world with its infinite variety of mineral, plant, animal, and human kingdoms. What amazing variety this world holds. And feel that presence of the divine that is your unique spark of God, that is your soul, your presence that chose to be in this world at this time, having this earthly experience for a divine reason, not only for yourself, but for the greater good, for the community, for the world. Oh, and so just be still and feel that deep, abiding presence. It infills you with living light and energy at every level of being. Your physical body is empowered to do that which you've been sent to do. It infills your heart, carrying gentle light even into the most tender and shadowed corners, reminding us of the power of love to transform us and our world. We allow it to infill our mind and our thoughts, bringing light into the depths of our thought processes, bringing light into places where fear and doubt sometimes seem to limit. We release those limitations and allow this flowing presence of the divine to infill our thoughts, bringing new perceptions and understandings and possibilities. And out to the depth and breadth of our soul, that eternal part of us that comes through the portal into this world, lives life, and then returns through the same portal back to the realm of spirit, carrying with it all of the love it has shared, all of the lessons it has learned, all of the gifts it has given and received. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all else will be added. Everything. All will be added. And so open now to let that presence of the divine to meet you exactly as you are, with your life exactly as it is. And let yourself feel comforted and healed. Let yourself be nourished by compassion and held in the light of unconditional love. Let yourself reinterpret your life experiences focused on your soul journey rather than on outer appearances. feel that presence that has ever been with you, is this day, and ever shall be. Feel the peace that passes all understanding descending upon you. And know that you are a beloved child of God. Feel now the chalice of your heart, your body, your mind, and your soul. That whole chalice is filled with the light of divine presence. Take a moment and with a heart overflowing with gratitude, allow yourself to be gifted with a chalice to hold and drink from its blessings. Chalice. Hold it in front of your heart with both hands. And notice that that which you drank is being replenished as you willingly pour forth your presence of love into the world. Lift up the chalice now as you're offering to be the presence of the divine at new levels of beingness than ever before. Turn the chalice to your heart. And in this energy field, pour forth all of the prayers that are yours this day, to give and to receive, silently or aloud, however you are so guided. We add to these prayers all of those entrusted to our High Watch Prayer Chaplains. We unite with people who pray for peace this day all around the globe. May our lights unite and light the way of the world toward peace through each and every one of us. And we now send special prayerful blessings of gratitude to Mukesh, to all of the cooks, all of the volunteers, everyone who prayed for the success of this event, and for all who came and attended and added their blessings to the evening we were blessed to share. Allow now your chalice to return to spirit, but your heart remains open, as does your mind, your body to be of service, and your soul to be what you've been sent to be. Prepare now to return to the outer sanctuary we share and the true sanctuary that your life is. Receive this blessing from Donna Markova as you go forth. Let us swing open all the doors and windows of our hearts on their rusty hinges so that we may learn how to open in love. Let us see the light in the other and honor it so that we may lift one another on our shoulders and carry each other along. Let holiness move in us, that we may pay attention to its small voice and give ourselves to life fully with both hands. Go forth now blessed and blessing, surrounded by a community of loving support as we link inner and outer realms with sanctuary once again. Amen, and blessed be. Namaste. See and honor the divine spark in each and every one of you. And now Ron is going to gift us with one of his songs, and I'll let him introduce it. What a blessing.
Business, and it just kept growing and growing, but at one point I sat back and said, "Okay, I feel I'm at where I can comfortable without, where I can use my time to, do things that are more important." Which is when I started playing. So I was thinking about this while we still have the business, and I have a business partner, and was getting ready to approach that person with the idea of selling business. And so before I did that, I think maybe a lot of times the way I meditate on something is to write a song. So anyway, this is what I came up with. And it is about, it was great. Blessed to be able to have a business like that set me up where I could really do something that I wanted to do. So that's where the money was, came in very well. But at one point, it was time to do something different. So that's what this song is, Revision of Life. I've been wasting my time thinking about things that don't really need thinking about. I've been spinning my wheels, working on problems I alone have created. Yeah, I need a revision know it can rob you blind of the magical wonder. Oh, I need a revision of my life. Need a revision of mine. Dreaming of paychecks with much bigger numbers, and all the things that those numbers can bring. These kind of thoughts take me right into slumber. What's that? Yeah, I've seen the sunrise in spring. Well, how am I supposed to change my ways when I'm always too busy talking about changing my ways? And how am I gonna quiet my mind when all of my thoughts are filled with meaningless numbers? Oh, I need a revision of my life. Need a revision of mine. Now wait just a minute, I think I got something going. Just what is the meaning of prosperity? I think I sit here a while and watch the river flow. Take a look inside, see what I might see. Now I have a new vision of my life. Have a new vision of life. Now I have a new vision of my got a new vision of mine. Have a new vision of mine. Have a new vision of mine. Have a new vision of life.
Oh, that's wonderful. A revision of life. How many of you have had those? I bet everybody's hands go up. Oh my gosh. I had a major revision when I was working as a head of the case management nationally for a major corporation and traveled to do catastrophic illnesses and injuries and train nurses to handle those and interview nurses to join us and work with companies as to what we could do to benefit their people. And I got to where there was an ethical issue because it was in the insurance industry and things shifted. Instead of being in a position where I could make things happen that wouldn't have happened without me being there by getting a policy exception so somebody gets the equipment they need, it became, how do we not do anything for anybody because it costs us money? So I was in this ethical dilemma and realized I'm going to have to resign. And I ended up getting laid off in a major corporate restructure, which is what gave me the resources to go to Unity Village to study for a month, which was a major revision of my life. It was the year I turned 50. I had my 50th birthday there, and I had an experience on Easter Sunday at Maurice Williams Black Evangelical Unity Church, where I got a blessing and I knew that I needed to take this new path. But it was also scary because I was single at that point. My only source of income was what I would do. And I lost this big corporate job, and I take the money that they give me for the layoff, and I plan to go to Unity Village. And I loved it. I loved it. Came back to Texas to help hospice my dad. And he died about a month before I was scheduled to go back to spend another month there. And one of the things that I thought about, and Gary Jones, who was one of the deans at the time that became a dear friend of mine, said, if you're thinking about being a minister, when all of you all come to Unity Village, you get all excited about how cool it is, and everybody wants to apply to ministerial school. I was kind of the opposite. I was like, I don't think I can do that. I'll be a licensed teacher. That would be a real honor. And what came about was this shift where when I got home, I got a call from a corporate headhunter that said, Pam, I have got a job. They know you. They want you. It's going to pay double the salary you're making now, basically, with better benefits. You'll have a private office. All of this stuff is right here for you. Can I set up the interview? Because I think it's yours. And I said, no. And she said, what? I said, I'm getting ready to go back to Unity Village, and I'm just feeling called in this different direction, this revision of my life, and it just feels absolutely right. And she said, Pam, do you realize what you're turning down? And I went, yes, but I know what I'm opening for as well. And she said, you know, if it was anybody else I could have called, I would have told you you were crazy. And she said, but you know what? Good luck. If you change your mind, I'm here. If you don't, just have a wonderful life. And so even though now I barely, in fact, I don't quite make what I made in the job that I got laid off from, paycheck-wise, my life has been filled with blessings and prosperity and meaning that I would have found some way, because it was always being of service, but I would have denied the calling of my heart if I had stayed in the corporate world. There is a book that I came across a number of years ago. We actually read it together in one of our book studies, The Soul of Money by Lynn Twist. If you'd like a book that will change your relationship with money, this is one that I promise will do it. And I wanted to share with you all some of the thoughts and the stories from this book, because I know, like most Unity people, you already have a bookshelf of books you're getting ready to read. So I did a handout today for all of you, if you would like it, that has quotes. It has the toxic myths and the truths of sufficiency, and that is so funny. I just looked, and on the right-hand side, it numbered them. So some of you are going to have 1, 2, 3. Some of you are going to have 4, 5, 6. And I think that's really prosperous. How's that for a living example of how it works? So Lynn Twist was involved with the Hunger Project, and that was what her calling was, to be of service, to help end world hunger. And so she traveled all over the world. She spoke to different groups. And in 1998, she had been to the World Women's Conference in Beijing that I think a number of us remember a lot of famous people went to, and women from all over the world. And she had gone there and met all of these women from different places. And she got a call, and they said, would you please come speak to the women of Microsoft? They've heard about you and they want you to come speak. So she said, great. And so she gets the packet. She's got a first-class ticket. She's flown to Seattle to the headquarters, and she'd asked for a small meeting. She said, I don't want to be in a boardroom. I don't want to be in a huge meeting room. I want to meet with these women. And there were about 10 of the women that gathered that were top execs, all of them worth millions. And she started talking to them about wealth and prosperity. And the thing that became very clear very quickly is these women were incredibly unhappy. They were blessed with money, but not with what those resources could bring in terms of a blessed life shared with others. They were doing work where they were working all day till 10 o'clock midnight, back there by 7 the next morning. They were working on Saturdays. They had Sunday off, but they were on their computers half the day, and they felt the pressure of the competitiveness and having to succeed and meet all of these goals. And it had taken what you would think would have been this incredible blessing and turned it into something that was killing their souls in some ways. And so what she did is she said, let's take what you're doing and let's shift it a little bit. You're incredibly blessed with certain things, but you've lost other things that are of value to you. How can you perhaps begin to balance these a little bit? And she said, let's start with something you're grateful for. What are you grateful for? And so to be appreciative, and the things that the women said had nothing to do with how much money they were making. They were grateful they had 2 healthy children. They were grateful that they had family and friends. They appreciated the financial prosperity that they were experiencing, but as a result of her being there, they formed a support group and began to shift from competitiveness into the more feminine model of collaboration and working together. We here at Unity, when I came, I brought the book by Christina Baldwin, who lives over on Whidbey, that's Calling the Circle. I said, I don't want to come as your CEO looking down. I want to gather all of us in circle together. I want to stand in leadership as I'm called, but in an open way that allows us to co-create whatever it is that we're going to do together. That's the kind of model she encouraged them to do, and to recenter in their redefined perspective of what is prosperity and wealth about and why. The famous Bible passage that David mentioned, money is the root of all evil. That's not the passage, actually. It's the love of money is the root of all evil. It's when that becomes the most important thing, you're just focused on one little piece of this amazing, prosperous life. Not long after she met with the Microsoft women, she was invited to go to Africa, to Senegal, out into the Sahel Desert with the Hunger Project. And she gets in a Jeep and they take off across this desert, and there's a little bit of a road and then there's no road. And so the guy's using a compass to get them to where they're going. And at one point, he turns off the engine and he said, okay, I need to reorient. Don't we all need to do that now and then? So he stopped for a minute and he listened, and they could hear the sounds of drums in the distance. And so they drove toward the sound of the drums, and they found 120 people sitting beneath 2 baobab trees, which are the ones that will provide shade in the desert and take very little water to survive. And this village had come to sit beneath the trees to welcome her as she came. She said the children came running out, the women came singing and dancing, the men welcomed her, and the first thing that happened, she said, was it was a Muslim culture. And so the men, much to her surprise, welcomed her to sit with them, but they were the inner circle and the women were in an outer circle. And they were there to talk about how do we get water to your village, because the droughts were worse and worse and worse every single year. And so she talked with the men, and she had this intuitive sense that the women maybe had some thoughts that might be helpful. And so she said, I want to meet with the women. But you're meeting with us. You want to meet with the women? And she said, yes, and she did. And the women gathered around her, and they said, we feel an underground stream beneath our village. We've dreamt of it. We can feel it. We've told the guys, but they think that's completely illogical. It's not there. And they said, we want to dig and find that underground stream that we know is there. And so she went back and talked to the men and got them to agree. And so the women were allowed to dig, and some of the men joined them, and they began to dig at the side of their village for water. And guess what happened? Water. It was there, and it was so flowing that it provided everything they needed. They have a huge water tank that's always full. They were able to then help other villages nearby also find the water that was beneath their ground or pump it to them. That flow was right beneath their feet the whole time. But the thing that struck her the most was not just the blessings that were under their feet, but all around them there were not many blessings visible. They were hungry, they were thirsty, they were poor, but they had a culture where they sang and they were in gratitude and they did it together. She said, as the women began to dig, they sang and chanted and helped care for each other's children, and they did it with great joy. And I'm sure that's why it called everyone to be a part of it. That's what prosperity is like. We just think of it as bank accounts, but it's that divine flow of presence that is always with us. And she was so struck that the women who had much were so unhappy, and the women who had so little found joy. And how it's about recognizing the presence of the divine that is always flowing with and for us. She says, no matter how much or how little money you have flowing in your life, when you direct that flow to soulful purpose, I love that, soulful purpose, you feel wealthy. You feel vibrant and alive when you use your money in a way that represents you. When you let money move to things that you care about, your life lights up. That's what money is really for. When you let your money move to things that you care about, your life lights up. We here are a tithing church because as we receive your gifts, we tithe 10%. And that is saying we've received the blessings, our cup is overflowing, and now we pour it back. David's told stories about how the board was short a certain amount of money and they didn't have it, and they were going, what's going to happen? How do we pay our bills? And another church tithed to Unity Port Townsend, and the check was for the exact amount they needed to pay the bill. Yes, and it works like that. It really and truly does. And so we don't stress tithing enough, I don't think, because it's such a charged word for so many people. People hear that, and I just see them kind of go whoosh. When it should be, wow. It's not you have to tithe, it's you get to tithe. It's saying the money and the blessings that I receive, how can I share them with what matters most to me? It comes from the Old Testament. It's an ancient tradition. And I love the fact that 10% of $1 isn't very much, is it? It's a dime. 10% of $10 is $1. Now, when you get up to $10,000 and that 10% is 1,000, doesn't it seem like a lot more? It's the same percentage. We're just looking at the check and not at the flow of the blessings that brought us to that moment. There's a wonderful saying, life turns on a dime. A dime is 10% of $1. A tiny amount can make a shift. And so you may never have tithed before, but if you'd like to get into this flow, I encourage you to consider doing it as a spiritual practice that will connect you with that divine flow. Try it for 3 months and just see what happens. I promise you'll have some amazing surprises. The blessings come not necessarily in the way you expect, but in a right and perfect way that brings with it joy and a way of going, wow, that really works. There are some toxic myths of scarcity and 3 truths of sufficiency that she goes through in the book. And I think these are really, really important. So I made a copy for you so you could take them home and think about them and play with them. The toxic myths of scarcity are what we in the U.S. tend to live from. There's never enough. I want more. It's us versus them. Nothing is ever enough. You get one thing and then you want the next thing and you want the next thing and you want the next thing. But at the same time, you're going, I don't know if I deserve it or not. It's this karmic dance. She says there is a natural law of abundance which pervades the entire universe, but it will not flow through a doorway of belief and lack and limitation. You need an open doorway, an open portal for the blessings to come through. There was a wonderful movie that was Auntie Mame, and she was sitting at the table and she said, most people are sitting at a banquet table starving to death in their lives. They're just looking for blessings in this narrow channel when there are all these things. Number 1, the toxic myth is that there is not enough. It creates lack and greed and musical chairs. I want what they have. Oh, well, I'm still not happy. Well, maybe I want what they have. Well, still not happy. Number 2, the toxic myth is more is better. A lot of us at this point in our lives have started downsizing and found great joy in downsizing. And so that seeking more is a race with no end, they say. The 3rd toxic myth is that's just the way it is. How many times have we said that one? Resignation, that's just the way it is, closes the door to growth. It closes that portal to welcoming new blessings in. Because with that's just the way it is, it almost always has a negative connotation. You're not celebrating at a party going, that's just the way it is. It's when you're awake at 3 o'clock in the morning going, how am I going to pay my bills? Well, that's just the way it is. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all else will be added. All shall be well is our wonderful chant. So think about those 3 and which of those is the one that has limited you the most. And what would it feel like to let go of that one? So there is not enough, more is better, or that's just the way it is. Recognize those limits and let them go. The three truths of sufficiency are realizing that we are meant to have life and have it abundantly. Jesus said that. I want you to have life and have it abundantly. Let it be blessed. When you let go of trying to get more of what you really don't need, it frees up oceans of energy to make a difference with what you have. When you make a difference with what you have, it expands. It opens your life. So the three truths of sufficiency is money is like water. It's that flow that's always present. Number two, what you appreciate appreciates. It grows. What you are in gratitude for cannot do anything but grow. And number three, collaboration creates prosperity. Doing it together. Doing it with others with a shared vision. It's an alchemy of sharing our gifts. So money is like water. What you appreciate appreciates, and collaboration creates prosperity. Pick one of those to be your motion in the direction of prosperous living. I'd like to share one more story from this book, and it's basically Gertrude's story. She said Gertrude changed her life forever. It was 1978, and she was scheduled to go to Harlem to meet with a community group who was interested in the Hunger Project and supporting it. And so she was meeting in a church basement in Harlem in the evening. Well, she gets a call the day before, and the CEO of a huge conglomeration that was a food company said, "Oh, I need to meet with you. I want to do a donation." And so she was like, "Wow, I've got this great opportunity, but I also need to be sure I get to New York, to Harlem." And so she did both in the same day. She flew to Chicago, met with the CEO, and then went to Harlem. In the meeting with the CEO, she tried to explain to him the importance of the Hunger Project, how it could change lives, how it could change the world. And she said, when she walked in, he said, "You've got 15 minutes. And so she tried to kind of consolidate and present. And then when he was kind of looking out the window and not paying much attention. But when she finished, he pulled out a pre-written check for $50,000 and gave it to her. And he said, "My company's been in trouble. We've done a couple of things that were not good. This will be good for our PR. We'll be able to tell everybody we're doing something good with the Hunger Project to relieve our guilt for all these other corporate misdeeds that have made us tons of money." And so she took the check and she put it in her briefcase, but she didn't feel good about it. She said, "I felt like I was facilitating something that wasn't good." And so she just struggled, and so she got on the plane with her briefcase and flew to New York and went to the Harlem church basement. And she did her presentation and asked for donations, and there was absolute silence in the group. And then a woman stood up in the back. This is what she said. "Girl, my name is Gertrude, and I like what you've said. I ain't got no checkbook, no credit cards. To me, money is a lot like water. For some folks, it rushes through their life like a raging river. Money comes through my life like a little trickle. But I want to pass it on in a way that does the most good for the most folks. I see that as my right and my responsibility, and it is also my joy." And so she gave the $50 she had earned that day cleaning someone's home. Others heard her and saw that and began to come up. And it was dollar bills and $5 bills and $10 bills. And people were bringing and giving, and she didn't have a place to hold it. So she opened up her briefcase, and they put all of this money into the briefcase. Small bills, but given with great love and with great intention to bless. And so she was so touched, and she went back to her hotel room. And what she ended up doing the next day was writing a letter to the CEO of the food company and saying, I cannot in good conscience accept this. I don't think you're with us in our intention to serve people. And I'd rather have smaller donations for people who are doing this from their soul than to have a huge donation that doesn't come with it the love and the caring and the energy that's what will truly empower it to make a difference in the world. And so she sent the check back. And it was about 10 years later, she receives a letter in the mail. And it was from the CEO to whom she had returned the check. And he said, never in my entire career did anybody return a check. And never for the reason that you gave. And he said, that touched me in a way that nothing else ever had. He said, it changed the way I thought. And he said, I know that money would have really helped you at that time, but I appreciated your integrity and recognizing the importance of not just what you're doing, but why you're doing it. And in the note of appreciation, he said he'd retired, and that he retired, I'm sure, with a huge golden parachute. And he said, this time I want to donate. It's not from the company to appease our guilt. This is from me. Because you touched my life, I still remember, and I want to unite with you in making a difference in the world. And the check that he gave was far, far more than the $50,000. But most of all, he consciously gave with the flow of his own soul and connection. This is what Lynn Twist says. Gertrude taught me that money is like water. It's a carrier. It can carry blessed energy, possibility, and intention, or it can carry control, domination, and guilt. So let the money move in your life in things that you care about so your life will light up. Eric Butterworth says it this way: God is the source of a mighty stream of substance, and you are a tributary of that stream, a channel of expression. Blessing the substance increases the flow. The more conscious you become of the presence of living substance, the more it will manifest itself for you, and the richer will be the common good of all. Identify yourself with substance, and you will soon begin to rejoice in the ever-present bounty of God. It's the flow, allowing in, and then being the vessel that pours forth. David talked earlier, and one of the things that I found myself remembering is that wonderful country western song. I think it's Reba McEntire, and it's, you can stand in the river and be dying of thirst. It's like the banquet. Same thing. It is important to be part of that flow. The Dead Sea is dead because water flows into it, but it has no outlet. Water cannot go anywhere. It's stagnant. When you are in that flow of prosperity and blessings coming into you, through you, and then back out into the world, that is when you truly come alive and your life lights up. The mantra I have used for years since my very first Unity Church comes from Eric Butterworth, and I put it on the bottom of your handout. I encourage you to use this every single day. God is my instant, constant, and abundant source of supply. Instant, constant, and abundant. 3 key words. So keep this near and dear. Let's say them together. God is my instant, constant, and abundant source of supply. 2 more times. God is my instant, constant, and abundant source of supply. God is my instant, constant, and abundant source of supply. And so it is. Go forth blessed and blessing. And now we're going to sing a song of inspiration that's a Sanskrit mantra for abundance and prosperity. Why don't you stand?
Actually, we're going to do it. I'm not going to play music. We're just going to do it with our voices.
Oh, cool. So stand and be channels of energy.
But before I do that, I wanted to tell you there was another part of this story for that song, and that was one of the Sundays that I played that song. After the service, Kelly came up to me and asked me for if I had the words to that song. That was the first time that we ever spoke to each other. That was her. Okay, I'm going to go with these words so they make sense. I'm going to try to play this drum too. The words are Om, Ma, Om, Shreem, Shreem. You got it? No. So Om, Shreem,
Shreem,
Maha,
Maha,
Lakshmiye,
Lakshmiye,
Swaha.
Swaha.
And that is ohms and salutations to the giver of abundance and prosperity. And, you know, this is another Hindu thing, and, you know, that Lakshmi, the goddess, she's not someone out there. You know, Lakshmi is in here, you know. So you're not asking, oh, somebody come and give me abundance. You're finding it within yourself. So here we go. Y'all just join whenever you feel comfortable joining. Om Shreem Maha, Om Shreem Mahalakshmiye Swaha. 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 Om Shreem Lahamakshmiye Swaha. Om Shreem Mahalakshmiye 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 Swaha. Om Shri Mahalakshmi 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 Swaha. Keep going. Om
Shri Mahalakshmi Swaha. Om Shri Mahalakshmi Swaha. Om Shri Mahalakshmi Swaha. Om Shri Mahalakshmi Swaha.
within you.
Om Shri Mahalakshmi Swaha.
Prosperity.
Shri Mahalakshmi Swaha.
Prosperity.
Om Shri Mahalakshmi Swaha.
Abundance.
Om Shri Mahalakshmi Swaha. Om Shri Mahalakshmi Swaha. You are blessed and blessing. Be seated.
Wow, this is a perfect song to lighten up the, the load for the offering. This is our time. But before you do that, I took a number of prosperity classes, but one of the classes I took said, anytime you write a check, in the for line, put T, Y, G. Thank you, God. And there was a number of times when I resisted doing any kind of online offering or paying a bill because there's not a place for me to put TYG on there. And I still resist that. That changed, that was is still, and I don't know how many years ago I started this practice. It is still my constant reminder that it is part of the flow, and that somebody, someplace, has really loaned me a service or an activity or a thing, and now it's my turn to pay them back and send it forward and bless it. So with that, we'll receive the offering today, and we bless it as we do here each week. Funny thing is, it all ties in rather than one blessing. So divine me, divine love. Divine me as love. How's that? Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am grateful.
They're already on their way. Already on their way. Give thanks for unknown blessings. Already on their way. Already on their way. Already on their way. Give thanks for unknown blessings. Already on their way. And they're already on their way. Already on their way. Give thanks for unknown blessings. Already on their way. Already on their way. Already on their way. Give thanks for unknown blessings. Already on their way.
That is so true. Thank you, Mother, Father, God. The blessings already on their way. And these gifts are blessed. And we receive them through this spiritual body, and we send them out to our bigger community and across the planet, that each person, each being, may know their worthiness and that they're blessed. They're born as a blessed thing. And whatever blessing they're looking for is already on its way. Already on its way. And we just need to wake up to that. And each one of us has that responsibility to be a blessing for another. And when we all figure that out, we'll create heaven on earth. And let us do that in our lifetime.
Yes.
So it is. Amen.
So it is. Thank you.
Already on its way.
Oh.
That's the trouble when they gave me a microphone. They hooked it on. Okay, well, we've got a couple of announcements. And everything else is on the website. So the cure time we had last night was wonderful. It shows up here all the time. We've got a Buddhist group that meets, it's on the website, those Thursdays, and back in the Hearth Room. That's another wonderful opportunity. And now there's another thing, this Amma Olympic Peninsula Satsang is going to be here on the 16th. And I'm not going to try to pronounce this Swami's name, but his last name is Puri. And I don't know if it's male or female, quite frankly, but whoever. The Swami's coming here on the 16th at 4 o'clock. And there'll be a satsang is a spiritual lesson. There's music with it, obviously. There's a spiritual lesson and a time to question and answer with the Swami. So as a holy person, it's kind of, if you got a question about how does this work for me, this is the time you can do it. And then there's singing, and there'll be some food with it. So anyway, all are invited to attend. So if you're curious about what a satsang is, 16th. And then coming up in July, we have our annual barbecue picnic out at Fort Worden at the Cook Shelter. It's on the 8th of July. Sherry, I don't know where she went to, she must be out in the foyer, has a sign-up sheet. And the reason for the sign-up sheet is two things. We want to know if you want a vegetarian option or a carnivore option for the main thing. In other words, a hot dog, hamburger, veggie burger, or I don't know if they make veggie dogs. I know they make tofu dogs, and don't trust them. I'll tell you the story someday about that. And then also whatever you want to bring for a side dish, so we kind of get a feel for how many people, what to get ahead of time. You'll hear more about this. We got the whole afternoon, so bring games, musical instruments, your drums. We'll figure out what to do with it. So all of that's, it's a great fun. It's a great time. 1 to 5 on the 8th. And Pam, you want to talk about your tarot class?
I'm going to, due to popular request, I'm going to repeat Spiritual Tarot series. And it's for beginners. It's also for people who've got some experience with tarot, because review is always wonderful. And I'm working on the flyer right now, and so I'll have them by next Sunday. And it'll be on Thursdays from 1 to 3 in July and the first 2 Thursdays of August. So if you want to put that on your calendar, I know a number of you have asked me. So Adult Spiritual Summer Camp is back with Spiritual Tarot.
Okay, well, with that, I think we are ready to form a circle in the sanctuary, and we'll prepare to sing the peace song. Gotta quit doing that. You know what? It's us. You know,
Yes, there is peace on earth it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as Creator, united all are we. Yes, we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me, and this is the moment now. With every breath I take, yes, this is my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me.
Say the prayer of protection today. Let's
Yeah.
just say it this
Okay.
time, okay? The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Go forth blessed and blessing, my beloveds. You make a difference in the world with your presence. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You are so loved. Go have, oh, listen to it. It's still ringing. There we go. Om is the sound of creation and life and blessings. Yeah. Great.